This is All About Home Construction, and here's your hosts, Terry Cannell Beck and Randy Blake.
That's right. Well, one of us, Randy, has decided to go down and visit family for Thanksgiving. Who would have thought? No, we do appreciate it, him, and hope he's having a good trip down there. I just talked to him earlier, and he's missing the show, and he is sorry to miss the show, but it's Small Business Saturday. It's after Thanksgiving, so we thought, you know what, let's come in and let's have a live show. And being Small Business Saturday, who better to be here on a Saturday morning to talk about local businesses than Boone Area Chamber of Commerce President David Jackson. Good morning, man.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Living the dream.
This is what you do on Saturday
mornings. This is my Saturday mornings, yeah.
Big time. The rest of us are cutting the grass and, raking leaves, and you're in here spinning the dials.
That's exactly what we do. Every Saturday I get in here, and then I'm try to figure out when my alarm goes off, why it's going off. It's a Saturday, and then but we're here, and no, it's fun, and we love the show, and we appreciate all of our listeners out there. And Randy and I've been doing this for a little over 10 years now.
Yes. Listen to you guys usually on the way to the farmers market.
Yep.
That's must listen to radio. So this is like an honor here to be.
Well, thank you.
Be on the program.
Be back, yeah, man. You're no stranger, and we appreciate that. And thanks for some of the stuff that you've been doing. A little off topic here, but as everyone knows, teach at the Virtual Academy. You were willing to come on and talk to some of my students, and I appreciate that. And that was pretty nice.
Yeah,
good times.
It was fun for me to see that at that age, you're talking seventh grade, right?
8th grade. Yeah.
That they had some ideas, man. That's important, and we can get into that topic a little bit later. A lot of conversations about workforce readiness and career identification. So to see, it's one thing to talk about that in a meeting with a bunch of other folks from campuses and places, but then when you see it, you see kids have energy and ideas.
Well, I don't
commend you for helping that along.
I appreciate that. I don't want to let too much out of the bag because there's going to be a lot more to come. But I will say they're still working on this project, so
nice.
Look for an email, and
okay.
It's slow. We can only devote a little bit of time a week to it, but don't worry. After Christmas, you got some.
Awesome.
Your email will be full. Don't worry about that. So no, we do appreciate it. And again, it's like you said though. We live in a community. I mean, first of all, when we have a community like this, we were just talking off the air about App State football. Appalachian State being the largest employer, and really I would argue the high country. I mean, I know we talk about a lot about Watauga County, but there's really no bigger entity up here. And then when so much so we talk about higher education, and we both have degrees, so I'm all for higher education. Don't misunderstand, but it's not for everyone, and I think we got to be realistic about that. And what I can say is through seeing the CTE programs and stuff at the school and then talking about it all here on this show. There's so much of that, like you said, that after high school, that's non-college, and going into that technical field. And it's great to see that, there's a shift, I guess, in the culture of the high country towards that.
Yeah, and that's a hard conversation sometimes to have in a community that, as you mentioned, is got such a major influence from a four-year institution. You can feel like in some cases it's almost like talking out of school to say, hey, a four-year degree is not for everybody, but it's not. And a number of the 6,000 employees on App State's campus have gone down certificate pathways or associate's degree pathways or some kind of post-secondary attainment that has gotten them to that place. Exactly. So even on the campus, it's not the be-all, end-all in terms of the four-year degree. But that said, I think the landscape has changed so much over the course of the last 10, 15 years or so when you see the opportunities that exist outside of one pathway or the other. I can remember being in high school back in the late 90s. It was you're going to go down the drafting, shop, construction road, or you're going to college. But there was not a whole lot of variety outside of those two things. And now with CTE programs being so robust, you can get career pathways identified as a 15, 16-year-old kid in things that you can turn into, in some cases, immediate career opportunities, or even better, the opportunity to jump into something where there is a business ownership component to it really close, after graduation. So I think that the balancing act has always been I'll call it the emotional development outside of that. So
Sure.
We were just talking a couple of days ago to Lucas Underwood. I think you've talked to him before, L&N Automotive. He is a nationally renowned small business, I'll call it guru, in that he started to put the seeds together of, I've got a skill that he developed in automotive technology, but he didn't understand the business side of it, right? So, he's gone all over the country and explaining how he's been able to put those things together. But one of the things that he talks about regularly is, you can't get them out too early, because you want to make sure that a 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old high school graduate is emotionally mature enough to be around 25, 26, 27-year-old people. So there is a balancing act. But I will say that with our school system, with the great partnership that Watauga County Schools has with Caldwell Community College and Technical Institute, there are so many great career opportunities that are available, and hopefully with more time and more money coming from the legislature to make those programs even better than they are now, kids are really going to have a chance to have variety when they get out of high school.
Well, and we see that so much. And, just the other day I was talking to a former student, in one of the fast food restaurants, and he was like, no. He's like, oh, I see he's been doing laying block and brick, just coming into the winter, he picked up the fast food job again, but he's like, no, like this spring I'm starting my own business. And he's going, and it's like, even, I wish him success, but, he's got that dream, he's got that passion, and we see that all the time, where you get that passion fuels us. And for this kid, it's owning his own business and working for himself. And, and I've hauled block and brick. It's no easy job. And, but to hear this, 19-year-old kid is out there ready to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I think it's important to also notice that, a lot of the folks that have been doing that work forever, a lot of the legacy family businesses here, and some of the small 1 or 2 person businesses here that have been working in those specific construction trades are starting to get to the point where aging out is a real possibility.
Right.
So, I'm sure that...
Well, we talk so much on the show. We see this shift still. I mean, we're 2023, but even after, this long past post the bubble, the 2008 bubble, we still are lacking in a lot of jobs. We had a lot of people retire, move off in different jobs, and you're doing that 2010-ish range, and 13 years ago. And now we're seeing that the people who stayed in are retiring off, and it's just not. There's a gap. There's a gap of people coming in and trying to take over those businesses.
Right.
And we see that a lot. I mean, look at any contractor, any job site out in the county, and they're backed up.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and you talk about physical labor too, where you mentioned after the 2008 bubble, a lot of those crews came back with far less capacity on them, so that meant more work for fewer people. So what used to be able to maybe get somebody through their early 60s is now late 50s. Man, they're worn slap out.
Oh yeah.
Guys like Chris Green have to keep their softball body. Man, they can't be hauling rock all over the place. And so we noticed that there is again opportunity in there. I think the thing that is again a byproduct of a great local community is that there are people in those jobs now, whether it's the folks at Green Construction. I just jokingly mentioned Chris, of course, but those folks are they have knowledge to pass down,
right?
So the right training in a programs like Watauga High School has or Caldwell has, combined with some folks passing down that knowledge that has been building up over generations even, is going to put that next generation even in a better spot to take over and understand what they're getting into.
Sure.
The nuances that you're never going to learn in a textbook or you can't learn in a classroom setting, but we all know that there are many tricks to the trade of making it work up here in our conditions and our environment and all that kind of thing, and that knowledge and the willingness to pass that down is so important.
Well, you mentioned the key component there, and that's the local area. We are so different than any large, Charlotte, Winston-Salem. We're so different, even though they're just a few hours down the road. We're such a different environment up here.
Right.
We're not that far off from a point in which that we would have apprenticeships. I mean, that wasn't that long ago when that was the career path. Is you go down and you work for someone for a few years and then you learn this trade. And I think sometimes we forget that was so recent.
Yeah,
so.
and there's an opportunity for that to come back in key areas in a sustainable way. So the state legislature has been trying to fund various apprenticeship programs over the course of the last several years, and some of those have been tied to the North Carolina tier system, meaning that the there's a tier 1 through 3, and depending on which tier you're in, and a lot of that has to do with economic distress. In some lower tier counties, those opportunities are funded at a level that make that incredibly appealing for a business to try to link up in that way. Now, Watauga County doesn't necessarily always get the shake that it should in that regard, because you see on one hand a very robust tourism economy that drives numbers up, and population that's boosted by App State that drives population up. We also know that if you get outside the population center, we are a very different rural county than maybe the postcard version of Watauga County might lead you to believe. And our needs and resource needs line up a lot with, again, rural distressed counties all throughout the state. So because of that tier system, we might not necessarily get the money or the access to programs that we should, but those things are starting to improve, and we've seen that, honestly, in the hospitality arena. The Hampton Inn and Suites, Tara Brosa, the longtime general manager there, she has figured out a way to kind of work the system to get kids into hospitality apprenticeships, and that is not necessarily about just making beds and working on the maintenance crew. That is thinking through all of the career paths that exist inside hospitality and tourism, everything from the accounting, bookkeeping side to the management side to, again, being a little bit more into the day-to-day operations of it all.
Nice.
And that exists in a way that not only does the funder pay for those kids to be involved in the program, but then it benefits the business because they've got, a 2-year opportunity to win somebody over in a full-time job.
Yeah,
and a lot of times that works out.
Yeah, and again, it's going to be a loyal, if you will, a loyal employee as well. Mm-hmm. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back right after. Obviously, by listening to this podcast, you see the value of All About Home Construction. Well, by joining our listener-supporter community, you're not just tuning in, you're standing with us as we are able to support and fuel our passions of the construction industry. As a listener-supporter, you'll enjoy exclusive perks, including hearing your name, or maybe even your business name, on our show. So please go to our Spotify website. The link will be in the show notes, and join. You can join for as little as $1 one-time fee, $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you think you can afford. Every single penny helps to keep this show going as we can continue to grow and do lots more things. Thanks a lot. And again, more importantly, thank you for listening to this. That's right. All About Home Construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Give us a call, 828-262-1567. David Jackson in with the Boone Chamber of Commerce, the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce. I didn't mean to leave the area.
Come on, man.
Sorry, but no, I appreciate you coming in. Hey, don't forget, all of our listeners can catch the podcast. So if you missed the show, or maybe you hear something interesting you want to share with someone, you can go back. All About Home Construction. People don't realize podcasts are pretty popular.
They are. Well, especially like if you're listening to an interview midstream and you have to jump out of the car or whatever. Yeah, go back and listen. And that's technology they didn't have back in our day.
Technology, and all you have to do is, it's really as simple as just Googling it, or we're on YouTube now. And
how about that?
If you got an Alexa speaker, Google speaker, one of those things, or Siri, you're like, hey, play the most recent episode All About Home Construction. Not even press a button.
See, now, how many people have the radio on in their house right now, but also have one of those speakers, and you just engaged it?
Sweet.
Just saying those words.
That's why my numbers jump up. Got it.
Quit giving that promo. You're making my house talk.
Yes. Well, no, we do appreciate it, and we get quite a few listeners, not just from the region, but we got some listeners in Canada even. and from all over. So we do appreciate all of our listeners out there. And, again, some of the stuff we're going to get into here in a little bit is not just going to be high country specific, but obviously being all about home construction here in Watauga County, we're going to focus a little bit on that. And, we see this national trend on today of this Small Business Saturday. Everyone knows the Black Friday on Friday after Thanksgiving. But this traditionally for the last, decade or so, we've had this Small Business Saturday initiative on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And, that's such an important thing, as we were sort of talking before about, some of the trades and things going on. But small businesses really make up a lot of the county, especially the economic side of the county.
Yeah. Well, I think first we have to give credit where credit is due. And American Express was the organization that made this the national phenomenon that it was, and really popularized what was action anyway, right? A lot of communities have had embedded shop local campaigns for years, but American Express slapped a logo on it, gave you some things to put at your point of sale, and now we call it almost a holiday. So that's good in a way, because it does bring more awareness to the fact that a lot of these, as you mentioned, a lot of these businesses that make our community so unique and so special are family businesses. They have been legacy family businesses in many cases, but they're also relatively small. Even the larger family businesses here, still many of them with 20 or less employees, they don't necessarily have the luxury of having big bankable resources that they could, see a slow winter, just kind of shrugged off as, it's okay, we'll make it back later on. A lot of these businesses do live, season to season up here. Right. So it's important for us. And I think we saw the value of this back during COVID, when all of a sudden it was just 19,000 of us up here, and we had to figure out ways, to creatively prioritize local spending again. Some of the habits that were formed there have really benefited the small local business community. So, today is one of those days to remember that the people that are operating the shops today and have been spending all summer and fall getting ready for this holiday push are the same people that are, your next door neighbor, the folks you go to church with, the folks that your kids play ball with, and the uniqueness and the diversity that we've got from a retail perspective up here is on those people's backs and shoulders. And this is our opportunity to say, hey, instead of ordering it online, it might cost a few more dollars, but you know what? If it costs a few more dollars to keep your neighbor and their family with food on their table and opportunity in front of them, then hey, so be it. That's what we're all about.
Well, exactly. And I'm going to track those dollars in just a minute. But I had read this stat, and I've seen it a couple different places, a couple different numbers. But 2 out of 3 over the last 25 years nationally, 2 out of 3 jobs are accounted for what they consider small business. Mm-hmm. And I've seen that number fluctuate from 2 out of 3 to 50%, but still, that just goes to show that even at 50%, every other person works for some kind of small business, and I think that's sort of the key. If we don't support that, then one side look at your neighbor, right? Like one side or the other is not going to have a job, if we don't keep that supported. And I think that's one of the crucial things that we talk about.
Well, and I think that, you look at terminology like small business, right? You've got a local version of what we understand that to be. You're talking about Stick Boy, and you're talking about Lucky Penny and all the shops downtown and things like that. But now, sometimes nationally, small business is a business with 100 or less employees, and we would think of that as being massive. I think to look at that in a high country context, you mentioned earlier that App State is the largest employer by far in the community. The hospital is right behind that, and then government is right behind that, whether that's Watauga County Schools, Watauga County itself, the town of Boone is not far behind that list. Here, in a weird sense, and this is going to sound so counterintuitive, but Walmart in Boone is one of the top 10 employers. Right. There are a lot of local people here that make up the staff that fuels that particular business. You would not think of Walmart as a small business, but in a community where they account for a pretty significant percentage of the local population, even a decision to say, I can't get what I need to get at the traditional version of what you would quote unquote call small business, keeping those purchase decisions in your local economy and your local infrastructure, that is leading to paychecks for people that are living right here in our community. They're going to go spend those dollars inside some of the other businesses that we're talking about.
And so that's it, right? When a dollar is spent locally, let's throw out the big, look at the big Amazon, right? I mean, everyone's shopping Monday morning. We're talking about small business Monday. Everyone's going to be doing Cyber Monday,
Right.
When you send that $5, you purchase something for $5, you send it off, all $5 is going out of the community.
Right.
Whereas, like you said, even at a box store here in town, how much those wages out of that $5, you may get $1 of that to go back to a wage that stays here in town. Looking at sort of the independent versus the chain businesses, though. $47 out of every 100, $52 out of every 100 is coming back through the community. Mm-hmm. Whereas it's only 13 of on the chain business side. When you figure in the taxes, local taxes, mm-hmm. both companies have to pay local taxes, so that dollar spent stays in the community, and wages, same thing. But what a lot of people don't think about is these non-local like business opportunity services.
Mm-hmm.
HR. You've got your retirement plans and banking. Even when you're dealing with a local independent business, that money's staying in the community instead of going off to a larger place, Charlotte or Arkansas.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of businesses here, I think, have done a great job. And again, this got magnified and even became more necessary during COVID when supply chains were what they were. Businesses here do a great job of doing business with each other. So a lot of times, especially within the nonprofit community, you see that a lot where the prioritization of the money that you do have to spend from an operations perspective, you're spending in a local context. Yep. So you're seeking out those local businesses. And then even like on the Cyber Monday side, let's not forget that one thing COVID taught us is that we had to get our goods and services out in ways that maybe we didn't before. And that meant that a lot of our small businesses here got really good at shipping things around the country.
Sure.
I'll bring up Shipley Farms. Mm-hmm. They've got their holiday packages that they're sending out all over the country. That is an opportunity for you to give a gift to somebody that you're going to have to order, but give that with a little Watauga County flair to it. That's Mass General Store is another one that created an online channel that was always there before, but COVID really brought that to the forefront, and now that behaves just as well as a traditional brick-and-mortar store does. And that, again, is an opportunity for you to say, hey, that's an operation that's based here in Boone. It's based here in the High Country. It's got High Country jobs tied to it. Grandma might live in California, and you want to send her flannel. You can still do that without having to, with putting a little bit of your hometown behind that. So
that's a good point that you made there. But again, locally that money's staying here, and I do appreciate that. Because Mass General Store is a perfect example. How many times do you see that they donate money?
That's right.
To various charities locally?
Yeah,
various groups locally. And they're sponsoring, even business opportunities. They're sponsoring and teaming up with local businesses. I'm a big soccer fan, as you know, and so even something like that, where we think about Appalachian FC as a soccer team. It's still under that business program. It's fun to go watch a game, and we look at it as entertainment, but it's an entertainment business, right?
That's right.
And I think that so many times these local companies are able to pair up together, stretch that dollar, if you will,
mm-hmm.
But they keep each other going because of that.
Right, right. Well, and Mast actually does that in every community that they serve. I think they've got 11 or 12 stores now, in every one of those communities. That local charity interest is decided upon by their staff, it's a genuine relationship. It's a genuine transaction where they want to benefit others. And I'd say that gets flipped back around when Stick Boy is buying office supplies.
Right.
They're doing that here when so many local businesses have services that they need, or even as silly as it may sound, of catering lunch in for their staff at a busy time of year. They're making those decisions by prioritizing the local businesses that have been good to them too. So working at the chamber, we do a lot of business to business connecting, as you can imagine, and there are so many times that we get phone calls of saying, hey, we need this. Is there anybody in town that does this? Mm-hmm. And we're able to help facilitate some of those connections, or at least find the closest thing to them that they can have in that regard. Well, that's special about our town.
And it's all about networking, right?
Right.
And it's a lot easier to network when you know somebody, and it's how many jobs have been decided because of spouses knowing each other, or I get asked all the time, hey, who can do this job, who can do that job, and it's that networking. And when you have a local community, you're able to get that tighter network, and I think that stretches a lot further.
Yeah, well, and on the HR side, you bring up a great point, especially when you've got some of the larger employment magnets like the campus or the hospital that are bringing in folks, routinely, that have, a spouse that's looking for a position, or in some cases a work-age child that's looking for the right group to go work with. Maybe it's experience in a particular profession. It is that kind of underground network, if you will, that does bring opportunity forward. And a lot of times that's relied upon and even is a little bit more formal than you might think it is. App State actually has a relocation specialist that is on staff. And one of the things that we work with, Pilar Foda is in that job, and we work with Pilar's office a lot when she's got somebody that's moving into campus that needs a job, say, in education, healthcare, what have you. There are easy phone calls that you can make, but that again goes back to personal local relationships to say, hey, we know that Appalachian Regional Healthcare System, or UNC Health Appalachian as they're known now, individual practitioners' offices, even the school system itself needing nurse positions. You've got a variety of people you can call, and that is again all fostered by paying attention, listening to what your neighbor says they need, listening to what they say they offer, and being able to match those things up. That's I think my favorite part of the chamber profession is putting the puzzle pieces together. Cool. And there are a lot of puzzles. Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small, but a lot of times it ends with being able to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, do you know somebody that can do a thing? And that again is what I think makes a community like ours work, and makes the work that we do as a community that much more special, because it's genuine and deep rooted in that way.
Definitely. Well, it's connections. It's all about the high country, right?
That's right.
And I think that's the key. We'll take another break. We'll be right back right after this. Obviously, by listening to this podcast, you see the value of All About Home Construction. Well, by joining our listener-supporter community, you're not just tuning in, you're standing with us as we are able to support and fuel our passions of the construction industry. As a listener-supporter, you'll enjoy exclusive perks, including hearing your name, or maybe even your business name, on our show. So please go to our Spotify website. The link will be in the show notes, and join. You can join for as little as $1 one-time fee, $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you think you can afford. Every single penny helps to keep this show going as we can continue to grow and do lots more things. Thanks a lot. And again, more importantly, thank you for listening to this. That's right. All About Home Construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Check out All About Home Construction, the podcast. And as David said, I can just tell Alexa to play it, and that's why my stats go up. So if you just tell
the thing is, he watches it. He says, Alexa,
you have no idea. Like every week, I'm looking at this, and like I said, we've got listeners in Canada, and we got listeners all over the U.S., not just here in the high country. So here, we appreciate it. We got a loyal listener up in West Virginia.
Yeah,
that listens. We appreciate them as well. So
good morning, everybody.
Yeah,
especially those of you on the East Coast up with us.
Well, the cool thing about the podcast is too, they may be listening to it at night,
maybe Thursday.
Yeah,
right now.
So happy
talking
afternoon.
In the future.
Yeah. Ooh, time travel. Oh, now I'm really like.
Now you're a time traveler.
No, we do appreciate it. But talking a little bit of David Jackson, of course, the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce, about local small business, especially on the Small Business Saturday, as we really push that initiative. And like you said, it was started out. Well, it's been going on forever.
Yeah,
we really will say, but with American Express really pushing it out. But the last decade, it's really, to me anyway, especially as the consumer end of things, has really expanded that. And it's really one of those pushes. And here we are, a Saturday, Black Saturday, Appalachian football. We got the rivals coming into town. King Street's going to be packed.
Yeah.
And it's good. A lot of people when a football game falls on the Thanksgiving Saturday, it's low attendance. But when you have a rival like this and a Small Business Saturday, it's huge for the local economy.
That's right. Well, and I think that we all know that our community, a lot of the things that we enjoy here, we enjoy because of the volume that our community is able to absorb at times of year. It may not always be the easiest thing for us to deal with, especially with traffic issues and things like that.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's a whole different show that we could get into, all about infrastructure, and that's going to be an important thing for our community to consider. It should have been considered 20, 30 years ago, and now that it hasn't been maybe as much, and we'll stay off that soapbox.
I don't know, but I mean, I kind of like the idea that all the main roads, 4 lanes, come into 2 lanes. That's a great idea.
That's a wonderful thought. Yes, it makes people stop and get a look at the small businesses that they want to shop at. But no, I mean, I think that as we're at another high volume time in our calendar, we're into choosing cut season. So whether they're coming up for a football game this weekend, a lot of families coming up to cut down that tree this weekend, or to next weekend at this time. I know Beach and Appalachian, I'm sure Sugar has as well, have announced that they're opening by next Friday, with the weather cooling off a little bit more over the course of the next couple of days. So we've got now the front end of our winter tourism season getting ready to start. We are a community that is based on volume. A lot of the small businesses that we have here are counting on us to do our part, but they're also counting on taking the opportunity to put themselves in front of visitors on a daily basis. It used to be that our shoulder seasons were longer here. Right. Now we hardly have one. Right. You save, depending on how things fall in November with the football schedule, quite honestly, and kind of that period of time between the end of ski season, sometime in March, and about the 1st of May. That's about it. Where it used to be a lot harder for small businesses to have to crush it in July and August so they could survive January and February.
Sure.
And a lot of our seasonality is also weather dependent. We have a soggy summer up here, people feel it. We have a warm winter up here, people feel it. So a day like Shop Local Saturday is a great opportunity to know, you can mark it on the calendar that you are absolutely going to do these things in our community today. Now, you might have to drive around a little bit more creatively as the afternoon wears on, but I'll also tell you that 3:30 in the afternoon is an excellent time to be on King Street, because everybody that's going to the game is parked and over there. A lot of the town of Boone has done the best they can in keeping parking open outside of the retailers on King Street on those football game Saturdays. So, if you're looking for that thing downtown, go down there about 3:45 today.
That's the time to go.
And you should be able to pop in there. You'll get your pick of seats at restaurants, and as long as you're out by about 6:30 or so, you'll be able to cruise out as well. So, I think the point of Shop Local Saturday is intentionality. Yeah. No matter what market you're in, no matter where you live, it's about intentionally saying, I'm going to go to do the thing. Whether that's a craft market, whether that is finding your favorite local business and popping inside. And I'll tell you what also we found out during COVID, sometimes just popping inside and saying hello. You might not have a thing to buy that day, but just saying, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'm coming back next week, or hey, when you get that thing in, let me know. But I just want to say, hey, thanks for keeping the lights on and the doors open, because it does keep people coming here. It's part of being a volume community is you have to have things that people want, and our community has done a great job of keeping that variety and keeping that special.
Well, again, there's sort of that novelty of I like the local business, and you're right. And there's times that I window shop too. I'll walk into a downtown store, may not buy anything, But again, like you said, you're bringing that volume in. And one thing I've noticed through my years of like just work in general, and I used to sell those portable sawmills, and so I really noticed it then is when you have one person, because we'd go to these trade shows and we're setting up, and you're talking to some a potential customer. When you're talking to one person, 3 or 4 will come over.
That's right.
And I think small business is the same way. When you see people walking into that store, you don't know if they're buying or not. When they're walking in, well, it's a high traffic area. What am I missing out? As just a random shopper, there's people going in there. There's obviously a reason they're going in. Maybe it's a good deal. Yeah. Maybe it's something I want. And so I think it sounds kind of weird, but I think traffic invites more traffic.
Yeah, and that is a good point. And I think that even within that, some of the high-traffic retailers that we have here have done a great job of providing space for some of the smaller folks, too, that they know that because of the nature of what they do, they're going to get foot traffic through a store or a storefront that maybe the folks that sell, prepackaged tea and mugs and some of the again, physical things that people make may not have a storefront, number one, because real estate is expensive here, but number two, they just might not have the eyeballs on that stuff. So, you think about places like Hatchet that have a great little local market that's right there at the register, or, Birdie's coffee trailer out between Boone and Blowing Rock has done some things with local makers to feature their stuff. Local Lion got into, back during COVID, doing floral arrangements for people. You could pick up donuts and flowers. It was perfect. Josiah saved many a relationship just by making that available. But it's again, that camaraderie that comes from, we know that there are places that will feature more folks than others, but they are able to show off our community in ways that will get people interested about those products. I'll throw Stick Boy out there again of focusing on local farm families, and whether that's Brown Family Farms or Shipley. Again, you can go in there and buy things that will then open you up to say, well, where could I get this maybe more directly? And finding those business channels is important for the survival of the small businesses that we're talking about today.
Exactly, and you mentioned earlier the farmers market. So many of those things do. It's a business, a small business, especially the working out of the kitchen table kind of businesses. They don't have the inventory. Even if they did have the space, they wouldn't necessarily have the inventory to open their own business or shop. But now they're able to go in, and again, it's sort of diversifying your market, right? Yeah. I can put my wares out in various locations and reach those potential customers.
Well, and I think the thing to remember, too, about culturally here in Watauga County, a lot of the things that are unique to us are handcrafted. They are made, again, in generational environments, right? Where a day like yesterday maybe is the kids and mom and dad and grandma and grandpa sitting down and doing the thing, right, that the family has done for years. And they need the marketplace for that kind of thing. So the farmers market, I know that there's that period of time where it feels like it's ours, and then it turns into like a tourist thing, and then it becomes ours again. We're kind of moving toward that. But those marketplaces are so incredibly important, and we salute those that find ways to include others in the scenarios that they can. Again, I mentioned those high traffic businesses that will feature other products, but also just the word of mouth that comes from, hey, you're looking for a thing, I know a place where you can get that thing. Again, that is where our community has been so successful in supporting one another. That comes up in big times, but it also comes up in very small ways sometimes. So when you window shop and you're walking around a place, and then your buddy next to you says, hey, I'm looking for this one particular thing.
I know a place.
I know exactly where I saw that. Exactly. Yeah, so that kind of stuff is very important, especially at this time of year.
Love it. We'll take our last break. We'll come right back right after this. Thanks for listening. That's right, all about home construction here on WAT. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. Happy, belated Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving weekend. Happy Black Saturday, David Jackson.
Yeah, it's Black Saturday in the high country. That's little Armani Edwards celebration today. It's like a throwback.
I know.
Black Saturday with some of the players that are coming up to be supportive of Armani as he gets his number retired today. It's like a blast from the past, man. Some old heads that are starting to get a little gray in their beards now.
Gray, man.
Awesome.
I love it.
That's awesome.
When you look back at those those championship years, man. That was fun.
It was, and you know what's really, and Coach Moore used to talk about this all the time, and you know he's obviously a little older than the rest of us are, and he's had the experience with this, and we always used to kind of laugh at him until now. You start to see guys come back with their families, with their kids playing sports. You know, I follow TJ Corman on Facebook. TJ was part of the Michigan team. He had one of the most important catches in that final drive, and TJ's son's playing flag football, and he lives like the experience out through. It's hilarious, but a lot of those guys and a packed house at the Rock, 3:30 for the Eagles. I guess if you're from Statesboro, we kind of welcome you here.
We welcome your money. Small Business Saturday.
Please fill up your tank before you go back down the mountain. Yes.
Well, David, we got last like 4 minutes or so. What's going on at the Chamber of Commerce? You guys are always busy, always working.
We've always got something going on. So this time of year, we have actually just recently again started up our own version of kind of like the Shop Local Saturday. It's a longer campaign where we're encouraging folks to shop local. It's called Holiday Shop Local, and this is an opportunity again for us to put a little bit of a marketing push behind the reminder of finding your favorite local businesses and prioritizing those purchases. We've actually got 15 businesses that have signed on to a campaign that you'll see through our social media channels that are highlighting them a little bit more specifically. We have partnered with an influencer that is actually going around. Juliet Rath from Lazarus Designs right here in Boone is going out and visiting each of these 15 businesses and highlighting them just a little bit more. So the first one of those reels that she did was at Bouquet Florist, and that was just awesome, you know, to see them doing all of their stuff and you know, again, just putting different thoughts in people's heads about how they can interact with some of these folks. But throughout the Holiday Shop Local campaign, we will you'll see our signage around town, and thankful to the town of Boone for allowing us to do that once again. You know, just again a reminder of, you know, rather than driving off the mountain, you know, we understand that some things are a necessity. Get that, but for the things that you can actually do here, the prioritization of local dollars that they mean everything to a community that wants to see that vibrant and unique version of ourselves continue. So that's going on certainly, and you can check out more details on that, see the full list of the participating businesses, but then get a chance to look at our member directory and maybe find some of those small businesses that you want to look at, and you can see all that at boonechamber.com. Last thing I want to mention real quick here is just some significant news in the ag space. You know, a couple weeks ago, the town of Boone approved water and sewer out to the Kill-Chill facility that will be built out at the Watauga County landfill. That was a significant step forward in getting that project moving. Really got to tip my hat to Jim Hamilton, the crew at Ag Extension, the county, for going out and finding grant dollars that will see this facility built, and a significant boost to the ag business sector up here of being able to get things processed here in Watauga County that will make for more local meat being available in the marketplace. Places like the farmers market, a lot more local restaurants will have access to that.
So to me is huge.
Yeah, still a few boxes to check on that, but it's again the town of Boone's willingness to go down that road is going to make this a lot more of an affordable project and one that will certainly impact our area for a long time to come.
Well, and again, not just jobs bringing into the area, but bringing in you know, the income. I mean, it's going to be the closest one around.
Yeah, about 10 to 12 jobs will get generated there, and I feel like that's going to be a lot of farm families bringing their expertise into that line of work, which is going to be important.
But like I said, I could also see the neighboring counties, you know, the local farms, they got to go, you know, with their local beef, they got to take it somewhere.
Yeah,
why not take it to Boone instead of off the mountain?
That's right. That's right.
Well, thanks again for coming in. We really appreciate it, and everyone go shop local today. We appreciate that, and you know, it's a community effort that brings it back, and again, every dollar spent comes back to the community.
That's right. Well, appreciate what you do to continue to boost up the local businesses here and to talk things in local terms. You guys do a fantastic job at that. Long-time listener. Enjoy being in here with you today.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah. Enjoy the game today. Have fun.
Layers, folks. Yeah. Just make sure that coat can come back on about 4:30 this afternoon.
It's not miserable for us high country people. It's just going to be cold.
It's going to be miserable for those coming up from South Georgia.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot again, and good luck to you, and we'll reach out again soon. Take it easy.
Sounds good, man.
Thank you for listening to All About Home Construction on the podcast. We record this live every Saturday on AM 1450 and FM 96.5 WATA in Boone, North Carolina. You can become a supporter by supporting us with a small monthly donation. That'll help sustain future episodes. You can do that for as little as 99 cents a month, and that'll go a long way to help our show. Do that, you get your name or your company name included in our advertisements. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.